for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter.
The chamber was already tense when Representative Jasmine Crockett leaned toward her microphone. Cameras clicked, lawmakers shifted in their seats, and Jim Jordan, known for his rapid-fire interruptions and combative style, appeared ready to dominate the exchange like he had so many hearings before. But this time, the rhythm changed. Calm and deliberate, Crockett posed a simple legal question, grounding it in a Supreme Court ruling and the Constitution's protections for all persons, not just citizens. In an instant, the energy in the room shifted. Jordan hesitated, his confident momentum breaking as the implications of her question hung in the air. For a brief, unforgettable moment, the usually relentless chairman had no answer, and the silence spoke louder than anything he could have said.
I just fail to see that argument. But I would have a question for the gentlelady's amendment. It says page 8, strike, collusion between the Biden-Harris administration and big tech to censor political speech. Are you arguing that that didn't take place?
I believe that the most important thing right now, in this moment, I do not believe that took place. I should put that out front. But I believe in this moment—
You don't think that happened?
I do not.
So the letter that Mark Zuckerberg wrote this committee, he was lying to us? That's a question. He wrote us a letter.
I cannot speak for.
The letter was. I mean, the very news people you were talking about. The letter was all over the news. He wrote us a letter last summer and said the Biden administration pressured us to censor. We did it. We're sorry. We're not going to do it again. And they've subsequently changed their policy. So I'm asking, you said you didn't think that happened. He admitted it happened.
Would the gentlelady yield?
The company runs the company.
I will.
No, it's not your time. It's my time.
Oh.
I will not then.
Yeah.
Turns out I can't yield.
No,
exactly. The gentleman yield.
You can't yield. I'll be happy to yield to the
Thank you. I just want to point out that what Mr. Zuckerberg was saying was censorship, in fact, was fact-checking.
That's right.
Which he decided that Meta would no longer do. Fact-checking, especially in an era when we have a president who lies incessantly, is essential. I yield back.
Well, I think it's interesting they got rid of the fact checker because the fact checker always turned out to be fact checking and stopping real speech that's protected under the First Amendment. So again, the proper place. Absolutely. First of all, you said you wanted to strike the language that's true, and you want to add in this other language. The proper place for this, as I've said again multiple times, is to put it in the minority views, which will be part of the oversight plan. But for some reason, that doesn't seem to be good enough for the minority.
Will the chairman yield?
Yeah, sure.
Just to pursue this point for a moment, this claim that this was fact-checking, wasn't this a suppression of New York Post reporting on the genuineness of the Hunter Biden laptop, which included the most incriminating evidence against a president involving family influence peddling that I think has ever been produced, and it turned out to be true. So what they were actually doing was suppressing facts, not checking them.
Suppressing facts and doing violation to the First Amendment and free speech rights of Americans. Who seeks recognition? Gentlelady, Ms. Crockett is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. It's so interesting to me that we all swear an oath to the Constitution, and we say that we take that oath seriously. But when it comes into actually doing something that looks like preserving that oath or looks like preserving the Constitution, we get a little wobbly, and I'm not really understanding what's going on. Freedom of press doesn't look like kicking out the Washington Post, or actually the Huffington Post has been kicked out. We know that the Associated Press has been kicked out, and now the Washington Post is not going to allow for op-eds in any way if for some reason they criticize the sitting president of the United States. What this is starting to feel like is a smaller version of Russia. And I am trying to tell you that we are nothing like Russia. We are not supposed to be like Russia, but that is what we've got going on. And I'm sorry, I know that some of my colleagues still struggle with answering the question of who won the election in 2020, and you may have felt a way when you had social media checking people and saying, no, Trump did not win the election in 2020. That is absolutely factual. And unfortunately, because some people got all riled up because they believed the lies, they ended up getting locked up because they decided that they were going to believe the lies. They ended up at the Capitol on January 6th, and they were trying to tear this thing apart because they felt like their country was falling apart in front of their eyes because for whatever reason, there were people in power that were peddling a lie about the election. We also know, and some of y'all may still say that COVID was a hoax. COVID wasn't a hoax. Tell that to the over 1 million people that died under Donald Trump's first watch. It wasn't a hoax. So no, I do believe that it was okay. In fact, I do believe that it was ethically right for social media to check people because you had people that didn't know anything about science and decided that they were going to put out whatever lies or propaganda or conspiracy theories they wanted to, and people died. At some point in time, we have to evaluate what is factual, and I know that facts hurt y'all, and I just wish we could get on the same page, but we do know during the presidential election that the president would not go and participate in anything if fact-checking was going to be a part of it because he didn't want to be fact-checked. We know that the vice president got upset in his vice presidential debate when he was fact-checked. It used to be a time in this country that we as members of Congress or elected officials thought that it was okay to just tell the truth. Instead, we're pushing conspiracy theories, and some of them are killing people. It's the same thing that we have coming out of DOJ. It's the reason that people are dying. It's the reason that farmers are losing their farms because we continue to peddle conspiracy theories. It is time for us to say, Mr. President, guess what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Can we at least agree on that one? Facts matter. Y'all, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who. Mr. Chair, I got a minute left, but I really want to yield to any of my colleagues and ask them if they will say today, very basically, that when it came down to the war in Ukraine, that it was not Ukraine that invaded Russia, it was the other way around. Is there anybody in here that has enough courage to say that Russia invaded Ukraine?
You can have my time.
And this is yet the problem. This is the problem. That is not infringing upon free speech.
During a heated exchange at a congressional hearing, Representative Jasmine Crockett cut through the back and forth with a pointed question to Representative Jim Jordan that shifted the tone of the room. Rather than debating rhetoric about alleged censorship, Crockett asked Jordan to reconcile his claims about a lack of coordination with widely discussed statements from Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who had acknowledged that his company faced pressure from officials in the Biden administration regarding certain online content during the pandemic. By framing the issue as a simple question about what those communications meant for government influence over big tech platforms, Crockett forced the discussion toward the gap between public denials and the documented interactions between tech companies and federal officials. The moment underscored the broader political dispute in Washington over whether those contacts constituted responsible moderation efforts or improper pressure on social media platforms.